Imagine your plotters, 1940.
I just want to look over your shoulder. No, okay.
Right. This is a unique building. There aren't any other operations room controlling the Observer Corp left in England that would still have the original sort of balcony and all the fittings. Air raid warning light up here, colour lights on the side. It is as it was in 1940 at the start of war. We have a letter from Squadron Leader Ross to his Air Commodore dated 13th of December 1938, saying he's come to Bury looking for somewhere to set up his post. This is a very good building. It's been offered to him by the Borough Council, Bury St Edmunds Council. It's convenient for the telephone exchange, and all the communication here is by telephone at that time, so you've got to be fairly close to the telephone. It's in a quiet street, and the council, different to what they would do now, offer it to the Observer Corp for £50 a week, including cleaning. We have also a letter to Captain Bright, DFC, who was obviously a First World War pilot living in Angel Hill, dated 25th of January 1939, that specifies this table as you see it set out here, and also how the building is set out, the layout of it. So we're 9 months before the outbreak of war. The preparations are well advanced. As you know, pre-Second World War, rather it was the moment we were worried about terrorists, then it was all air raids was the big concern, big worry, everybody, shelters, air raiding. So this is set up. I'll pass you over to Kitty and Andy, who are the authorities. They'll talk briefly, and if you want to come back afterwards, they really know it all backwards.
Well, this operations room was up and running 6 days before the war started, until 6 days after it finished, 1945. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It ran right through without stopping. Incidentally, there was a duplicate room under the old town hall in the cellar. So if this one got destroyed, there was another one they could go to. The Observer Corps' job was to track aircraft. Most people have heard about radar. If you all the books go on endlessly about how wonderful radar was and all the rest of it. Well, it wasn't that good. It only looked out to sea. It was all along the coast, but it all pointed that way. It took very skilled operators, who were usually women, to interpret all the little lines that went up and down, because it didn't have the sweeping hand thing like they have now. And the Germans very quickly realised, although they didn't exactly know what radar was, that there was a gap, because presumably their similar system had a gap, and they used to exploit that. So what we've got on the table is we've got 3 raids here. These ones are all hostiles. They're marked with a yellow H, which signifies hostile. The plaque has got a number on it, that's J38. It's been identified as Messerschmitt 109s. There's 30 of them and they're flying at 17,000 feet. These are Dornier 17s. There's 33 of those and they're at 10,000 feet.
And that's from the radar?
No, the radar wouldn't be able to tell you that. The radar just tells you something's coming. The other thing radar couldn't do is distinguish in the early years between our own stuff coming back and enemy stuff coming as well. So this has been identified by Observer Corps posts and it's tracked us. These ones here, they're Hurricanes, they're Spitfires. They're obviously going to try and stop that lot going to wherever they want to. This one marked with a T, it was a training flight. It's got a green disc on it. It's going around in circles because nobody knows what to do with it. But they want to try and keep it out of that lot because they could be pilots that have got 3 hours on a Spitfire and they'll get shot down in 10 minutes. So that was one of the Observer Corps' jobs, was to try and get fighters onto the enemy. Now the Observer Corps track every single aircraft movement, so they're tracking anything that enemy aircraft. They're also tracking every single Allied aircraft that moves, and that's a lot. They don't always report that to the RAF. They only tell the RAF about the ones the RAF want to know about, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So the idea with this is to try and get this lot together. You notice the coloured arrows on our clock here. That's got coloured segments on it. So as you're tracking the aircraft, you put down these coloured arrows to mark where it's going. and they change with the clock colour. And what happens is after a while you'd end up with a load of these things in, and the floor supervisor or a raid orderly, after a period of time, will take the back ones off and give them back to the plotter to continue, or else you just end up with coloured snakes all over the table and it gets very confusing. Roll around this thing here, you'll see I've put on their labels of various people's jobs. We'll start there. Warning officer. That was someone from the Ministry of Home Security. They were connected to the air raid system. They would initiate an air raid warning locally, hence the lights up here. You'd hear the sirens. But they're also connected to the police, fire brigade, all the utilities, medical things and stuff like that. So if it looked like Bury was going to get bombed, their job was to notify all those people so they knew it was coming. The recorder and their assistant record everything that tracks happen, all the tracks on this table. So as the tracks move across it, they're drawing this on a bits of paper and the time as well. And when that piece of paper gets full up, they do another one and just continually do it. And all that information went to the RAF. Probably the most important person was this main teller. They've got a direct link to an RAF filter room. So as soon as anything happens on this table, enemy-wise, the RAF know about it. Like this one here, which is sneaking in under the radar, which is what's got a naught there. Anything under 1,000 feet comes in as naught. And this one, and also it's got a green arrow on it, which means that's the first plot. There's a green arrow, so you know it's a new one. And it's got a yellow disc because it's presumed hostile. But until someone identifies it, it's presumed hostile.
And then just at the moment they're just looking through binoculars. So,
yes, all these things here you've got right across the whole county. We do from the middle upwards of Suffolk. The bottom part of Suffolk went to Colchester, and we've got the bottom end of Norfolk there. Each one of these little dots is a post. These are a group of posts in a sandbag thing or a tin enclosure or something, out in the middle of nowhere. The only requirement was a bit of high ground, no trees and a telegraph pole. So they're out, they've got a thing called a post instrument, which you use to track with a map table. They relay that information to the plotters. There's 12 of them sat around this table. Each plotter is working through these posts.
So was there a telephone line that came directly?
Direct telephone line from the post to here. So you've got 3 lines coming into each one. So the plotters have got quite a job because they've got to manage these 3. And sometimes 2 posts can see the same aircraft, so it's getting reported twice. So basically the one who's got the best view, they tell the other ones to shut up. I'll plot with you until he loses it, and then you can take over.
So it needs a clear night though?
No, you can plot in any weather. But anyway, I'll do that in a minute. You've got raid orderlies here. They organise all these plaques. They put them up, put the numbers on them, which the numbers either come from the RAF or, like that one was initiated by the Observer Corp. It'll be reported on the Observer Corps number until the RAF give it their own number, then the raid orderly will change the number. Intergroup teller, this place was linked to other operations rooms in the area: Norwich, Colchester, Bedford, Cambridge, Watford. So they're continually talking to each other, and the intergroup liaison and the intergroup teller, that's sort of what they do. Duty controller is the man or woman in charge. They run this whole thing for their duration of their shift. The post controller looks after all these posts. So if one of them, somebody doesn't turn up when they should have done, they have to get a replacement. If the telephone line goes out, they get straight onto the GPO, who have got a dedicated crew who do nothing but look after the Observer Corps telephone lines. So if it goes out, a man on his bicycle turns up and fixes it.
That would be nice now.
So that's it. You asked about night time. Yes, you track aircraft at night. You can do that by sound, and you have a different set of counters in the plotting box there. There's the little shield ones. These ones are used for tracking at night. The same way as you use it, or in bad weather. I mean, it could be snowing or it could be foggy or anything. You can still track an aircraft by sound. It's not as good as being able to see it, but you can still do it. So you know where it's going. You can judge roughly what height it is, and also you can tell the difference between German aircraft and our own, because all the German aircraft run with unsynchronised engines. So, and there's a distinctive noise. So you can always do that. We're running out of time, are we? Or the other group has arrived, yeah? Any quick questions?
Where are all these bits of paper? Are they still?
That's a good question. There are some of they do turn up at odd places. Some records officers have got them, bits and pieces. The bulk of it, as far as I know, went to the Air Ministry and were probably destroyed after the war.
But we do
So
have
you
this
sit-
great plot, don't we?
We do have, we
The
do.
photo.
She's sitting there receiving calls from
Yes, she would be receiving
numerous different,
3 different posts.
3 different posts.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry. We have to move on.
Well, you can come back later if you wish to.